Okay, Assalamualaikum and hi. We are from DPM3B. Today we're going to present an objector for business law. So before we proceed to the EOC, I will introduce first myself and my group member. So my name is Muhammad Azrifa bin Hazrami. My number metric is 10 DPM 32F1023.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Akil Tazrazi bin Tamizi. My normal metric is 10 DPM 22F 1019.
Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Muhammad Zohairi bin Shuaib. My metric number is 10 DPM 22F 1021.
Okay, hi. My name is Muhammad Faris Daniel bin Ishaq and my metric number 10 DPM 22F 1015.
Okay, so for the question 1, Azri and Awa have been married for 15 years. One day, Azri went outstation for 3 days and left his credit card for Awa to use in emergency situation. Before he left, Azri also provided Awa RM300 as an allowance. After Azri left their house, Awa used Azri's credit card to buy 4 pieces of clothing from a famous brand named Swan. After a month, Azri received a credit card bill. Although the bill was in his name, he refused to pay as the debt was not his but his wife's. Based on above scenario, you are required to describe an issue that arising on the scenario. So the answer is, can Azri refuse to pay the debt for Awa?
B. Explain the relevant provision under the Contract Act 1950. Section 140 Contract Act 1950. Definition of express and implied authority. An authority is said to be impressed when it is given by word, spoken or written. An authority is said to be implied when it is to be inferred from the circumstance of the case and things spoken or written. C. Purpose the relevant case to support your answer. Case name, Miss Gray versus Cathcart 1992. Case fact, a wife was supplied with clothes of the value of 250 by the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper sued the husband. It was found that the husband was given the wife an allowance of 960 per year. It was held that the husband was not able to pay the due of the shopkeeper. D. Justify a good conclusion to the above issue. Azri can refuse to pay the debt for Awa because Awa didn't use the credit card for emergency to buy personal item in accordance to the case Miss Gray versus Cathcart 1992 and Section 140 Contract Act 1950. An authority is said to be impressed when it is given by word spoken or written. An authority is said to be implied when it is to be inferred from the circumstance of the case and things spoken or written, or the ordinary case of dealing may be account circumstance of the case, or the ordinary course of dealing may be account circumstance of the case.
Okay, next we go to the question number 2. Jamal bought a car, Honda City from a Zainal and has been using it for several months. Jamal was later discovered that Zainal did not have the legal rights to the car. The car is still property of Shahrul. Jamal had to give the car to Shahrul and claim the money that has been paid. Zainal refused to hand the money to Jamal. Okay, based on the situation, describe an issue that arising on the scenario. The issue is, can Zainal sell the car to Jamal? Next, explain the relevant provision under the Sale of Goods Act 1957. The section is section 14 sub A, Sale of Goods Act 1957, an implied condition on the part of the seller that in the case of a sale, he has a right to sell the goods, and that in the case of an agreement to sell, he will have a right to sell the goods and the time when the property is to pass.
Next is question C. Propose a relevant case to support your answer. For case name is Roland against Diwali. Case fact, the claimant, a car dealer, bought a car from the defendant for 334 euro. He painted the car and put it in his showroom and sold it to a customer for 400 euro. 2 months later, the car was impounded by the police as it had been stolen. It was then returned to the original owner. Both the claimant and defendant were unaware that the car had been stolen. The claimant returned the 400 euro to the customer and brought a claim against the defendant under the Sales of Goods Act. Held, the defendant did not have the right to sell the goods as he did not obtain good title from the thief. Ownership remained with the original owner. The defendant had 2 months use of the car which he did not have to pay for, and the claimant was not entitled to any compensation for the work carried out on the car. Next is D. Complete a good conclusion to the above issue. Zainal cannot sell the car to Jamal because he did not have the right title to sell the car in accordance to the case Roland against Diwali and Section 14 Sub A Sale of Goods Act 1957, an implied condition on the part of the seller that in the case of the sale, he has a right to sell the goods, and that in the case of an agreement to sell, he will have a right to sell the goods at the time when the property is to pass.